Welcome back to Investing Talk Podcast. Today we're tackling a company that's making some really big promises about changing how we connect. AST SpaceMobile. And the big question a lot of you are asking is, well, is now a good time to buy? We're going to explore their tech, the financials, the risks. Before we jump in, if you get something valuable from our chats, please think about subscribing, maybe give us a like, leave a comment. It genuinely helps us out. And yeah, if there's a specific company you want us to look into, just drop it in the comments below. Okay, so let's get into this AST SpaceMobile situation. We've pulled together the latest info Q2 updates, market stuff, what analysts are saying, the whole picture. We're aiming to connect the dots for you, not just list facts.
Yeah, it's fascinating because we're looking at a company that's, really early stage, but at such a potentially pivotal moment. Evaluating something like this, it takes a totally different approach than looking at, say, an established telecom giant. We'll try to link up the tech, which is pretty groundbreaking, with the financials, which are, frankly, demanding, and the risks, which are definitely there.
Okay, let's start with the basics then. What exactly is AST SpaceMobile trying to do? What's the core mission that makes them stand out in this increasingly busy space sector?
Right. So AST SpaceMobile is basically positioning itself as the first company building a space-based cellular broadband network that connects directly to standard smartphones. The key thing is direct to smartphone. No special dish, no extra hardware needed, just your normal phone. Their whole advantage hinges on this proprietary tech. And, as of August 2025, they've got 6 spacecraft up there in orbit.
6 already. Okay.
Yeah, which puts them, practically speaking, ahead of quite a few others who are maybe talking about similar things but haven't deployed as much yet.
Wow, direct to smartphone from space. That sounds, incredibly ambitious. The engineering alone must be immense. But ambition needs funding, right? A lot of it, usually. So what does their financial picture actually look like? Are they bringing any money in yet?
That's the multi-million or perhaps billion-dollar question, isn't it? As of Q2 2025, they are still firmly pre-revenue. All the focus is on getting the system built, commercialized, and hitting that target of up to 60 satellites by 2026. So yes, massive capital expenditure. Services are just starting initial deployment phases. Long-term contracts are still being developed. It's really important for you to understand this. Zero or near zero revenue and no profit is completely normal, even expected for this kind of venture at this stage. They're building infrastructure.
Okay, so lots of cash going out, nothing really coming in on the revenue side yet. It's a huge construction project in space. How are they managing the cash flows? Is the balance sheet strong enough for this?
Well, they just took a big step to address that. On July 29th, 2025, they closed a $575 million private offering of convertible senior notes due 2032.
$575 million. Okay, that's significant.
It is. It significantly boosts their liquidity, gives them breathing room for operations and more satellite deployments in the near term. But, and this is the crucial but, for investors, it means their debt levels have gone up substantially. They're funding today's build-out with tomorrow's potential earnings.
Right, borrowing against the future success.
Exactly. And operating cash flow is still negative. All the resources are going into CapEx and R&D. You'd really want to check their Q2 2025 10Q filing once it's out for all the fine print.
Okay, so they've secured funding for now, but it comes with that debt load.
Yeah.
Who are they actually up against? Who are the big competitors in this space race?
Well, even with their unique direct-to-phone angle, they face some serious competition. You've got the heavyweights like SpaceX with Starlink and Amazon with Project Kuiper. These guys have, vastly larger financial resources, established distribution, huge advantages there.
Yeah.
But the key difference, AST SpaceMobile's whole pitch, is that you don't need the ground antenna or special terminal that Starlink or Kuiper currently require. It connects straight to the phone you already have. That's their value proposition.
That distinction seems really important, but couldn't a giant like SpaceX or Amazon just pivot or maybe acquire someone? Is that direct-to-phone advantage really safe long-term?
That's a really sharp question, and honestly, it's a major risk factor.
Wow.
While their tech is proprietary, patents exist, yes. The space industry moves fast. Could a big player develop something similar or buy their way in? Absolutely. AST SpaceMobile's edge isn't just being first. It's about proving the tech works reliably, at scale, and locking in essential partnerships, especially with mobile operators, and getting the needed spectrum licenses before the competition can fully react.
So it's a race to prove viability and build a network effect.
Exactly, it's a race. And the technical hurdles, the regulatory ones too, they're significant for anyone trying to copy their specific model.
Okay, so if they're pre-revenue, how on earth do you even start to value a company like this? Things like price to earnings, price to sales.
Yeah.
they must be totally useless here, right?
Completely useless. Trying to use a PE ratio on AST SpaceMobile right now is like trying to calculate the fuel efficiency of a rocket ship that's still just blueprints on a desk. It doesn't make sense.
Right.
Their pre-revenue or revenue is negligible. So PE, PS, not meaningfully comparable to anything, really. Even something like price to book often looks high for these kinds of tech firms because they have negative retained earnings from all the spending, and they've raised a lot of capital, which inflates the book value side. The stock closed around $50 on August 26th. Comparing that valuation to a mature telecom company trading at, say, 15, 25 times earnings, it's just not a valid comparison. Different universes.
Okay, standard metrics are out. What about looking forward? Like the kind of cash flow analysis, trying to project future earnings. Is that feasible here?
Well, you can build a DCF model, but it would be incredibly speculative right now, highly speculative. The revenue ramp up is just completely unproven. We don't know how fast it will grow or even if it will meet projections. And the capital spending is going to stay really high for a while. So any DCF model depends heavily on assumptions about revenue, costs, timing, assumptions that just aren't validated yet. It means the output isn't very reliable for making investment decisions today. You get high risk, basically.
So fundamental valuation is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
What about the technicals? What's the stock chart telling us? How are traders and investors reacting day to day?
The charts definitely show a lot of action. High volatility is the main story for ASTS. The stock's been bouncing around in a pretty wide range. You see sharp moves based on news about funding, satellite launches, or just general sentiment towards space stocks.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen support buyers stepping in down in the $42 to $45 range. And resistance, where selling picks up, seems to be around $52 to $55 a share. Looking at recent patterns. The moving averages suggest a positive short-term trend, especially after that rally when they announced the big capital raise. That got people excited. And things like the RSI, the Relative Strength Index, it's sort of hovering in the high 50s, mid 60s, not really screaming overbought or oversold right now, maybe consolidating a bit.
Mm-hmm.
The MCD indicator is positive, but looks like it's flattening out, which also hints at potential consolidation. But the big takeaway, high volatility. It reflects the speculative nature of the stock. It moves on news.
Got it. So speaking of news, what are the recent headlines or sentiment drivers people should be paying attention to?
The biggest piece of news, hands down, was completing that $575 million convertible notes offering back on July 29th. That was critical. It gave them the cash runway they desperately needed to keep building and launching satellites without facing an immediate funding crisis.
Well, that takes away a near-term risk.
Exactly. Also, their Q2 operational update was positive, confirmed they're on track with launches and the service rollout plans. That helps build a bit of confidence. Interestingly, we haven't seen any major analyst upgrades or downgrades recently, in the last quarter anyway. It feels like analysts are mostly in a wait-and-see mode, too.
Okay, funding secured, operations on track. What about insider activity? Anyone on the inside selling significant chunks of stock, that can sometimes be a red flag.
Good question. There was a Form 4 filing August 26th. It showed a CFO, who's also a director, sold about 20,000 shares. The average price was around $52.48.
Okay, 20,000 shares, add a lot.
Well, you have to look at the context. After that sale, they still hold almost 400,000 shares, 397,485 to be exact. So selling 20,000. It looks more like a routine diversification or liquidity event for that individual rather than, a sign they're losing faith in the company. Not a major concern based on the numbers.
Right, context is key there.
Yeah. And social media buzz, it's still speculative, lots of hype, but generally leaning positive lately, mostly because of the progress updates and that big cash injection.
Makes sense. So looking ahead now, what are the key events or catalysts on the horizon? What should investors be watching for that could really shift the story here?
Okay, near term, keep an eye out for their next business update. It's scheduled for November 2025. That could be huge if they announce things like their first actual direct billing contracts with customers or give more concrete details on the initial service launch. Any real commercial traction news will be significant.
Tangible progress.
Exactly. Plus, they plan to keep launching satellites pretty regularly, maybe every month or two through the rest of 2025 and into 2026. Each successful launch helps de-risk the execution side a little bit more.
Okay. And longer term?
Longer term, the big ones are full-scale commercial service launch in major markets, US, Europe, Japan, That's targeted by 2026. Also, expansion into government applications could be massive. Think military, emergency services. Any potential government contracts would be a huge validation. And then there are things like getting new spectrum licenses or maybe signing major strategic partnerships with big mobile carriers. Those could all be game changers.
Wow, okay. So definitely a lot hinges on execution in the next year or two. It sounds
Yeah.
like the potential upside, if they pull this off, is enormous. But let's flip that coin. What are the really significant risks investors absolutely need to understand?
Oh, the risks are substantial. Let's be clear about that. Stock-specific risks are huge. First, execution risk. Massive. Any delays in launching satellites, getting the technology to work seamlessly with phones and ground networks, getting regulatory approvals. Any slip-up could seriously impact their timelines and their finances. This is incredibly complex
It
engineering.
really is rocket science, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Then there's the financial side, the high ongoing capital spending, the fact they're burning cash consistently until revenue really kicks in. How long can they sustain that burn rate? That's a constant pressure. I'd strongly recommend anyone interested to carefully read the risk factors section in their latest 10K and 10Q filings. They spell out the dangers in detail there.
Okay, those are company-specific risks. What about broader market stuff? Things outside their direct control.
Yeah, there are those too. The space sector itself can be very volatile. Sentiment can swing wildly based on news from competitors, launch failures anywhere in the industry, even geopolitical stuff. Regulatory changes are always a risk. Spectrum rules, orbital debris regulations, things like that. Technology could potentially make their approach obsolete, though that seems less likely in the near term given their unique position. And then, the usual macroeconomic suspects. Interest rate changes could make future funding more expensive. A global recession could hit demand for new services. It's a complex picture.
Definitely a lot to weigh. So let's try to pull this all together. What's the final investment thesis here? Summing it all up, potential, risks, valuation woes. Is AST SpaceMobile a buy now?
Okay, based on everything we've discussed, our overall rating is, let's say, a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10, so leaning cautious.
Very cautious, yes. Look, AST SpaceMobile has incredibly high potential. It's a genuine high-risk, high-reward play. They're trying something completely new with this direct-to-device service. The balance sheet looks okay for now, thanks to that recent funding. That's a plus. But the persistent negative cash flow, the total lack of proven revenue at scale, and those huge execution risks we talked about, they are massive hurdles. So, bottom line, this is absolutely not suitable for conservative investors, value investors, or anyone who isn't comfortable with significant risk and volatility.
Okay.
The stock price right now is driven far more by news, hype, and sentiment than by any real fundamental performance because there isn't much performance to measure yet.
So if it's not for the cautious or value-focused investor, who is it suited for right now? What kind of investor profile fits?
It's really best suited for speculative traders, people playing short-term moves based on news flow, momentum, hitting those operational milestones we talked about. It is not appropriate for a conservative, long-term buy-and-hold strategy. Not yet. Not until we see actual, sustained revenue traction and proof that the operational risks are coming down significantly.
Right, need to see the proof in the pudding, basically.
Precisely. You need to see it working reliably, globally, and generating real money before it transitions out of that highly speculative category.
Well, there you have it. AST SpaceMobile clearly offers a really exciting, maybe even revolutionary vision for global connectivity, truly pushing boundaries. But as we've heard, it comes wrapped in some pretty significant early-stage challenges and considerable risks that you, as a potential investor, really need to think hard about.
Yeah, and that brings up a really interesting question for you, the listener, to maybe ponder. When you're looking at a company like this one with potentially world-changing technology, but also sky-high risks, what specific milestones or data points would you personally need to see? What would it take for you, beyond just headlines about funding, to feel comfortable considering it a more established, potentially long-term investment? Is it hitting a certain revenue number, a specific subscriber count, maybe the full satellite constellation being operational?
That's definitely something to think about. We hope this conversation gave you a much clearer, more nuanced view of AST SpaceMobile, helping you weigh that incredible potential against those very real risks. Thanks so much for joining us today, and please don't forget to subscribe, like this discussion if you found it useful, and definitely leave a comment, especially if there's another company you'd like us to explore next time. We always appreciate hearing from you.